Hello and welcome to the United Stand. If you're watching live, I am Mark Lakebridge because I was listening to the cretin that is Antonio Conte and what he had to say about our manager, calling him a little man. So we've got heightism, dementia the other day, the FA do nothing, and all Mourinho's done is actually relay the facts that Conte did get suspended for match fixing, although he didn't get done for it. But Conte comes back with a bit of heightism. If you're small, you know, it's not very nice, is it? But Griezmann to Manchester United has taken a huge boost today with Philippe Coutinho moving to Barcelona for £142 million. I'm not crying, don't worry. It's got something in my eye. Yeah, £142 million. Wow, absolutely wow. I mean, they did get 200 million from Neymar, so they've spent 142 on Coutinho, 135 on Dembele, so that's 277 million pound they've spent, so 77 of their own money. They still technically do have enough money to go and get Griezmann for 100 million in the summer because his current release clause at the moment is 200 million. But I still see it as a massive boost for Manchester United that Coutinho has gone to Barcelona because I don't see Griezmann going to Barcelona now. I don't. I think the Coutinho deal will effectively end the reality of what some people think is a reality of Griezmann going to Barcelona. I don't think that's going to happen now. I don't think you're going to have a situation where Barcelona have got Griezmann, Dembele, Suarez, Messi, Coutinho and anybody else they've got coming through. I don't see that happening. And I mean, I've been saying this for about a year ago. We knew that Griezmann was coming to United, and obviously he was coming to United right up until that day where he backed out because of the transfer ban being upheld by the authorities in Spain. Then I was like, well, that's the end of it when it comes to Griezmann. But if you've been watching the United Stand for any amount of time over the last few months, you may have caught me say a couple of times that I'm convinced that Griezmann will come to Manchester United. Cobros Aikins, thanks for the contribution. He says, Mark said we have to ask about a signing. Would Madrid, Barca, Bayern, City want him? With Mahrez, no. So why are we? Let's focus on Dibala or Griezmann. I'll talk about that in a minute because we want to take some of your comments. But on the point of Griezmann, so I've been saying for the last probably since about September time that I'm convinced he'll come to Manchester United, and there are reasons for this. And before you start saying, Mark, you're clickbaiting, Mark, you're pushing the envelope, Mark, you're reaching, son, you're reaching, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. I want to just say this, look, I don't base it on a hunch, I don't base it on guesswork, I base this. I've got two new bits of evidence, but I feel like a detective again. I have some evidence based on why I think Griezmann's coming to United, and some of it's the same evidence as it was 3 months ago. Morals, obviously he's got a guy who's got morals. He was coming to Manchester United last June. The transfer ban was upheld by Atletico Madrid, and he stayed at Atletico Madrid out of loyalty to Atletico Madrid. So if he is a man of morals, I think he will still have the loyalty that he was coming to Manchester United, and we've waited for him for a year. Two, I think the fact that we've kept the number 7 shirt is empty for now over a year is massively symbolic. Half last season, it's going to be all this season. Manchester United's most iconic shirt empty. There's no reason to keep it empty. I mean, some people would say give it to Lingard, but I wouldn't. But because it's a special shirt, it's got to be a world-class player shirt. Maybe next season he can have it, but not quite now. So the fact that we've kept that shirt free is more than, oh, it would be nice to get somebody in it. That's been promised to somebody, I guarantee it, and I think it is Griezmann. So you've got the moral signs of it, you've got the number 7 shirt, you've got all the comments that Griezmann keeps making about Manchester United, some of them very, very positive. You've got the relationship with Pogba. You've got the fact that he is looking for, you know, he's in his prime, he wants to go somewhere where he can be at a massive club. Now that's maybe where other clubs come into it. But what I really do think, where you add the new evidence, I mean, I think that's quite compelling anyway. You know, I do think that's very compelling. And the only people can counter that is, well, Barcelona will nick him because he wants to stay in Spain for the weather, which maybe before Coutinho was realistic, but I don't think it is anymore. I mean, yesterday there was news that Real Madrid have told Griezmann to hold off on any talks with Barcelona or Manchester United because they want him. I can't see him going to Real Madrid in a million years. He plays for Atletico Madrid. That has been done in the past, but it's pretty symbolic to be loyal to Atletico Madrid and turn your back on a move to Manchester United for a year and then a year later go to Real Madrid. That would destroy anything that he did. So I cannot see Griezmann going to Atletico Madrid. I don't think he's going to go to Barcelona now. PSG would just be killing his career. Manchester United all the way. And I think when you add into the fact as well what Mourinho said last week, that he expects a marquee major signing in the summer, it's going to be somebody to fill the number 7 shirt. So I think this is big news for Manchester United today around Coutinho. And I based my theory on why Manchester United are going to sign Griezmann and why Griezmann is going to come to Manchester United. I base it around strong evidence. I do. I think there is strong evidence to suggest that he will be Manchester United's player. It's not going to happen in January. It could happen in January. It's not going to happen in January. I think it's going to happen right bang at the start of July when his release clause comes down to £89 million. And I think he'll be announced in that first week of July as a Manchester United player, bar pending, well, the World Cup doesn't finish till the middle of July. So France probably, let's say end of July, then mid to late July, he will be announced officially as a Manchester United player because he'd probably be in the latter stages of the World Cup with them. But I am 100% convinced that it's going to happen, and I am, and I may well be proved wrong, and I have been proved wrong in the past. But I think when you look at all the evidence, it will. Lingard is playing like Messi. Enough of Lingard. We're talking about Griezmann at the moment. But what I would say is, though, if you are somebody who doesn't think we're going to sign Griezmann, and you are somebody who thinks Griezmann's going to go to Barcelona, if that scenario happened, and I would find it disappointing because I do want him to come, but if that scenario happens, I'll tell you what's definitely not going to happen. Dybala's not going to Barcelona, which is where I've always felt he would go. I think we will get Griezmann, and I think Barcelona will get Dybala. And some people, and even I, would say Barcelona are probably getting the better deal. But if Griezmann does go to Barcelona, I think we'll get Dybala. I am that confident. I'm saying it totally serious to you. I'm very straight-faced about it, and I know a lot of you in the live comments are as well. Mourinho said we're getting somebody big in the summer. We need a number 10. Mkhitaryan's gone, so we need a number 10. We need a number 10 anyway. For me, it's going to be Griezmann. But if it's not Griezmann, I think it's going to be Dybala, because the only team that could push us for Dybala would be Real Madrid. And that, you know, they can push us for him, but I think we'll get Griezmann because I think Dybala will go to Barcelona at some point. But that's how I feel about it. I'm going to start taking some of your comments because I do need to give you some news about Malcolm from Bordeaux. I know a lot of people like him. Griezmann deal has been agreed since last summer. It was just delayed a season, says Jack MUFC. That's pretty much where I'm at, Jack, as well. I really do think that. I think. Well, I hope and I do think that Griezmann is a man of morals. I know I was very angry with him when he didn't sign last summer because I'm a Manchester United fan, and even though he was being very moralistic staying at Atletico Madrid, I still think he made a mistake. And I still think he made a mistake. You look at his form at Atletico Madrid, you look at how good Atletico Madrid have been this season, not very good, knocked out the Champions League. I know it was a moralistic decision, but I still think it was the wrong decision. He should have come to Manchester United, and I was very angry about that. But I do agree with Jack there. I think what happened is, I think there was a phone call. I can't come. I want to come, but I can't come. I owe this club too much. I can't come, but I will come next summer. And I think that's basically what happened. And I'm sure United weren't happy about it, but I'm pretty sure that's happened. Griezmann at United versus Di Maria at United, Shvi. Griezmann's not played for us yet, so I can't really do that one. Nice jacket, says Gil. Yeah, I haven't wore this for a while. Class of 92 in the house. Liam Benton's missed the start of the video saying YouTube's crap. Sorry about that, Liam. Barca signs Coutinho for 160 million. I think it's 160 million euro, 142 million pounds. Okay, I am going to take your comments because that's what Saturday night at 8 o'clock is all about. Apparently Mark Hughes has been sacked. Oh, God. That is not good. That is not good. I'm not happy about Mark Hughes being sacked because I wanted him to be sacked against Manchester United a week on Monday. That feels like that's like when you've got, that's like in the films, isn't it? When you've spent, in a film somebody's whole family gets killed out and it's a revenge thing, and you spend the whole film chasing down the person who's done it, and you're right close to it, and then you're just about to walk in the room and really kill the git, and someone's done it for you. And that's what it feels like around Mark Hughes getting the sack from Stoke. Really, really disappointed by that. Really disappointed because he's got so many. He has messed us up so many times. So many times at Manchester United with us dropping points, and we are going to be deprived of that justice of getting him the sack. To be in all seriousness, obviously it's not nice when somebody gets the sack, but I don't like him. I don't like his attitude towards Manchester United. I don't like the fact that he's always so focused on Manchester United, like in a weird way, for a man who was. I mean, what a lot of people might not realise is that Mark Hughes did. Well, a lot of you will realise Mark Hughes did come through our youth system. Played for our club twice. Was a really good player, a United legend, as Shay says. But I don't know whether he actually likes Manchester United. That's the weird thing, and a lot of United fans have sort of gone off him as a manager because he's come out with some really weird comments over the years. I think it was 2006, we played Chelsea. He was like, I want Chelsea to win. He motivates his team against Manchester United to ridiculous levels. It's almost like we cannot not lose. So it would have been nice, and I never forgive him for the way City won that league. He basically told QPR to I wouldn't go as far as to say told QPR to throw the game, but he did run to the halfway line and said, "Don't worry, we're safe." And I think that totally and utterly just turned them into a hot knife through butter, really. But yeah, Mark Hughes gone. We won't get the satisfaction of getting him the sack at Old Trafford, but yeah, he's gone. He's gone. And he is a Chelsea fan, Hallam. He's not a Manchester United fan, even though he came through our youth system. He's never had any much love for Manchester United. I'm an Arsenal fan. I want Griezmann to play in the EPL, says Manoj. Talking about Arsenal, you've brought me back in the room about Mark Hughes from where I was going to go. Robbie, Arsenal Fan TV, massive YouTube channel. I'm sure a lot of you watch it. They tweeted this afternoon, and you know, whatever people think about the media and everything, I don't think you can argue with the fact that Robbie's got good connections around Arsenal and good sources around Arsenal. And he did tweet this afternoon something about Malcolm and discussions beginning between Arsenal and Bardo for Malcolm. And now there's a lot of Manchester United fans who would like Malcolm. I like him. Early 20s, rocket of a left foot, good, skillful winger. I think it'd be a slight risk. I don't think he probably suits Arsenal more than he does United, because I think there is a risk element to signing him. But that was my only concern about Malcolm, was that would he be good enough? He's certainly potentially good enough, but would he be good enough? And but another player potentially that's going to go to a rival and we're not going to be in for. And I do start to think about Manchester United, and I don't know what you lot think, but I do start to think about Manchester United, and are we going to do any business this January transfer window? Because the players I knew that were available that we could go for, Ross Barkley is gone to Chelsea. Malcolm looks like Arsenal. Lamar looks like he would definitely go to Liverpool now. I think Lamar to Liverpool is going to happen very, very quickly now that they've got the Coutinho money. Ozil's obviously looking like he's going to stay at Arsenal. Sanchez is either going to go to City or stay till the summer at Arsenal. You know, we're running out of, you know, Griezmann's not coming in January, and I don't think he ever really was anyway. So who are United going to move for? Because you've normally at least heard of some sort of connection. Goretzka looks like he's going to Bayern. So it's very rare that you get a total out of the blue signing. Mahrez, as people mentioned, may be the one that it could happen with, because I don't see that we're going to get any news done very quickly. Tyler Durden, this channel's trying to be like Arsenal Fan TV. I don't, you know, when you read a comment that you wish you didn't read, because I don't read those sort of comments anymore. But look, I like Robbie and I like Arsenal Fan TV. But since when have Arsenal Fan TV had a studio set up and live comments like this? We're nothing like them, and they're nothing like us. And there's a big difference. There's two different bloody clubs with different fan bases. So I wish I hadn't read that. I don't like reading those sort of comments. Mark Hughes has been sacked. Ryan Hill, yes. I'm disappointed. I am disappointed. There was a bit of a revenge element because we were playing Stoke next, that we could beat them. But we should beat Stoke next anyway. And ultimately, forgetting silly, petty things like revenge, the reality is we just need to beat Stoke next week. But Manchester United are going to Dubai. They're going to Dubai because we don't play our next game till a week on Monday, because we're Monday Night Football for the Premier League fixtures next weekend. So Willian is a good name, but he played well for Chelsea, and with the relationship, I tell you what, Willian would be a good signing, but we've probably got more chance of signing William Shakespeare than we have Willian, because Chelsea, the way it's going between Mourinho and Conte, I don't think there's not going to be any business done there anytime soon, is there? So Willian would be ideal, but it's not going to happen. But what I was concerned about today is that we play against Stoke a week on Monday, so that's the 14th of January. We've got around 10 days now to, you know, do some business, because we're not in the League Cup midweek next week. So we're off to Dubai. And as soon as I heard we're off to Dubai, I thought, well, that's good. Bit of warm weather training, a bit of R&R and team bonding for the team. But ultimately, we need to sign players. And what are the chances of us signing players when we're away in Dubai or Mourinho's away in Dubai? I don't think we will be signing anybody. I think that is I know it could be done, but I'm not convinced Woodward's come back from his Christmas holidays yet. I don't think he's come back from his summer holidays. So I don't think Manchester United are going to sign somebody whilst we're away in Dubai. I just can't see it. You've got to have all the photos with Mourinho and this, that, and the other. I don't think it's going to happen. And I see. And then if we're not doing business when we've actually got 10 days to do it, are we going to do any business in the last 2 weeks of the window? It's worrying. I've got a funny feeling. That we won't do any business this January now. Even though last night I said I'm 100% sure, I just think the targets are slipping. You know, Malcolm with Arsenal, Barkley's gone, Griezmann is not going to come. Danny Rose would be a stupid deal to do because we've already got Luke Shaw. I mean, imagine if we went and spent £50 million on Danny Rose. I would be like, what? Why? Why are we buying a fullback when we need a winger and a number 10? The interesting thing will be if we don't sign anybody, do you think we've got enough to finish in the top 4? I know we've got a bit of a cushion at the moment, but we've still got to play Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City. You know, 6 points can be erased very, very fast, and we're only in the start of January. Is this squad good enough? And I know we beat Derby, we've beaten Everton, but they're not very good teams, are they? Compared to some of the teams we're going to have to get results against between now and the end of the season. And also, I think, you know, we're still in the Champions League. I'd like us to, I'm not saying we can win it, but I'd like us to be competitive in it and have a go at it. And I don't think we've got enough to do that at the moment. Loads of people watching. Make sure you drop a like on the video. I'm now going to start taking some of your comments. And we can whiz through some of those. But we've spoken about the Griezmann thing at the start of the video, so I'm more than happy to revisit that. We've spoken about Mark Hughes. Drop a like on the video and get commenting if you're in the live comments about what you want to talk about. And if you are new to the United Stand, make sure you subscribe. Bottom right hand corner is the subscribe button, the little hologram there. We are live every single night at 8 o'clock. All about you, all about your comments, exactly why you're on the comments. Fantastic community. You won't regret it. You won't regret watching the United Stand and getting involved with the community, because it really is fantastic. Anyway, Mark Hughes sacked. Mark Hughes has been sacked. Interesting indeed. Right, start chucking me some questions, because I think I've spoken to you more or less about a lot of the things I wanted to get off my chest. Right winger is what we need right now, says Justin. I think a winger who can play any position would be great. A winger who can, and most can play left wing, right wing, or number 10 now. I mean, I'd still love Perisic. It's not going to happen, but I would. Lukaku the Tank. Mark, are you frustrated with United's repeated pursuit of a left back instead of concentrating on our weak side of the team, such as a winger and a number 10? Yes, I am. I am Lukaku the Tank. I love the name, by the way. I am. I think buying a left back is a waste of time right now. If he wants a new left back, do it in the summer. We're smack in the middle of a season. January window is not ideal. If you're going to do business in January, do it in an area that you need something resolving now. And we need somebody to put crosses in the box, and we need somebody to create chances. We're not creating enough chances. Gil has said Griezmann or Dibala. Look, I think we're going to get Griezmann, and I'll be very, very happy with it. If we don't get Griezmann, I think we'll get Dibala. Who is better? I've always said Griezmann, but to be honest with you, at the moment, I probably would edge towards Dibala, but to be honest, I'd be absolutely ecstatic if we got either. Imagine if we got both. Not going to happen. Do you think City will knock us off our perch? Hamim Ali. If we fail to do anything in the transfer window significant over the next 12 months, I think Man City will win the title for the next 3 years. So I'm not saying that they're going to knock us off our perch, but Manchester United need to respond. Sebastian United, thanks for the contribution. Formation would we use with the likes of Griezmann? I think Griezmann would play. I think Griezmann would play for me. Not for me personally. In a Manchester United side, I would stick Griezmann in behind Lukaku. That's the perfect position for him. And I would have Martial one side and possibly Lingard to the right at the moment, based on form. I'm not convinced that Mata really should be starting in a team that we want to be fast and progressive. But then if you play Griezmann in that position, you lose Pogba. Pogba's got to play a little bit more defensive. But people moan about that. But then at the start of the season, Pogba was playing in the midfield too and was very very progressive as well. Milankovic Savic says Victor Sidiala, very good player, very good player. I would love us to move for him. I think he would be perfect for Manchester United, and we are linked to him. He would cost a lot of money, and I don't think it's a deal we would do in January. Pankaj says, is Pulisic a possibility? It'd be a fantastic signing if we made it. I think Pulisic is too young. I think he's 18 or 19 now. I don't think Mourinho would go anywhere near that. And I certainly don't think we would be doing it in January, as much as I'd be very excited. Jahad Hussein says Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura really worries me. If we go for him, that signing really worries me, because he's rejected us once. He's clearly a mercenary. And I'm not, this just total risk of whether he could do it in the Premier League. And as Shane Goo goes, let's get Mahrez. I wouldn't, in relation to Mahrez, I will talk about it because I did speak him on the Transfer Daily in the week. What I would say about Riyad Mahrez is just sort of keep it on the down low at the moment, because I think there's a very big chance he's going to go to Liverpool. They've got a lot of money to spend. Liverpool are going for it. You know, you look at Liverpool's transfer activity. I mean, Coutinho out for 142 million. Van Dijk and Lamar and maybe Mahrez as well in. I think that's better for Liverpool as a football team. Yes, you lose probably your best player, but you bring 3 good players in to boost your squad, which isn't very deep, and also sort your defence out with Van Dijk. So I think Liverpool are strengthening well, and I think United, you know, we're looking up at City, but should we also be looking at what's around us and saying, you know, are we also going to start losing ground on the teams around us? As I said earlier on, I hate to say it, but Liverpool's front 4, or 3 because they haven't got Coutinho now, but Coutinho, Mane, Salah and Firmino, I'm sorry to say it, are far more exciting and in better form than Martial, Lukaku, Rashford and Lingard. I think Martial is better than most of those front 4 for Liverpool, and I think Lingard's in better form, but Lukaku and Rashford aren't. And at the moment, that's the problem with United's attacking side of the game. We're not scoring enough goals. I've got a funny feeling Lukaku's going to hit some form now, though. But I would like Mahrez over nobody. I'd like Mahrez. I'd like Pereira to come back. That doesn't. Why can that not happen? But to do nothing would be really naive, I think, on United's part, and a risk that we don't really need to take. But yeah, I wouldn't talk too much about Mahrez, because I think we could end up in a situation where we just irritate ourselves, because I've got a funny feeling that he will end up at Liverpool. And if Liverpool did manage to get Goretzka as well, I'd be, you know, imagine Liverpool get Van Dijk, Goretzka and Lamar or Mahrez. I mean, that is one hell of a summer. And they've got Naby Keita coming in the summer. And then United give Fellaini a new contract. Meltdown. We should get proven players in the Premier League, says JD. It's part of the reason I would have gone for Barkley, but that's been and gone, and you've got to move on. Martial better than Salah, laughing, says Dear Egan. You raise an interesting point. I think you're very rude and uneducated on Anthony Martial to actually put little laughing emojis when basically saying that Salah destroys Martial. I mean, that really does show your naivety and lack of knowledge in relation to Anthony Martial. Because I've seen a bit of Salah this season, and I've seen a lot of Martial, and I can see why people would say Salah's better, but it's totally and utterly disrespectful and wrong, and exposing your own naivety to say that there's a huge gulf. Because Martial, for me, is Manchester United's most important attacker. His creativity, his goals, he's been fantastic this season. Obviously, Salah, you know, at times has made Liverpool be a bit of a one-man team, and his goal record's brilliant. And I think a lot of people would choose Salah over Martial, but for me, I wouldn't. I think Martial's my favourite player at Manchester United. I think he's an amazing footballer, and I think he is a potential Ballon d'Or winner, or whatever they want to call it now. I don't think Mo Salah is. You know, he had a good season at Roma, he's having a good season at Liverpool, but I don't think he's a potential top 5 player in the world at all. I think also Liverpool are not a Premier League winning team. They're never going to be that. Liverpool are a team that's going to be battling for 4th this year. And because you're battling for 4th, teams don't really respect you as much as they do when Man City or Man United or Chelsea come to town. So Liverpool get a lot more space than other teams. But, you know, I'll concede, if you want to say Salah's better than Martial at the moment on form, then maybe he just about is. But I would not swap Martial for Salah. No way. I think he's absolutely fantastic. And I think those people who don't realise that will do eventually, because Martial's going to, for me, be one of the best players in the world. City luckily have a few good players. Chelsea with Bakayoko, Drinkwater, Barkley are signing average players, says Shrikama. If you were Jose, who would you sign in January if you had £200 million? I'd be looking to sign 2 players, and with £200 million, bloody hell. I think if with £200 million, you're only going to get Griezmann or Dibala. So do you go for that sort of player, or do you try and get 2? We've got to get a winger, and we've got to get a number 10. So for me, if I had £200 million, a lot of people would be surprised by this, but if I had £200 million, I would probably go and sign somebody who can hit the ground running now, who's a winger. And I still think you'd get Perisic for 55 million, which would leave you 145 million, which I think would get you Dibala or Griezmann. So there's your answer. I would go and do that, because I'm 100% like Mourinho. I think Perisic, although he's 28 and he'd only be here for 2 or 3 years, I think he would come into the team straight away and solve our problem of putting crosses into the box. And that for me is worth 55 million. 145 million would get you Dibala or Griezmann. So I would go and do that, and I think we'd be set. I'm not greedy at the moment. I think they're the 2 positions that we're crying out for. Vexy's just asked the most impossible question ever. Who are the realistic targets for Manchester United in January? I think they're disappearing, mate. I think they are. And it's hard to know. And United, let's see what happens with United. But with them off to Dubai, as I said before, Manchester United off to Dubai for 10 days. I don't think we're going to get anybody bought in that time while we're away, and that worries me. That worries me. And I'm also worried that, are we just focusing on left backs? I mean, we need a number 10 and we need a winger. Let's go and do it. Let's go and do it. The GMP says, recap the news. Mark joined late. While I'm doing that, if you have been here from the start, please do drop a like, or if you are new, let's see if we can get 1,000 likes while we're live. So basically, Mark Hughes has been sacked, which I think is a big shame, because we're playing Stoke next. I wanted to beat them and him to get the sack then for all the times he's done us over in the last few years. Also, Malcolm is linked to Arsenal quite strongly now, so maybe we're not in for him as well. And I started the show talking about Antoine Griezmann. I really do believe that Antoine... I know I did a video on this about 2 or 3 months ago, listing the reasons why Antoine Griezmann will come to Manchester United. The biggest one is, I think, as Jake said, I think what happened last summer is that he was coming to United. The transfer ban was upheld for Atletico Madrid, and he just said, look, I'll come in a year's time, but I do owe Atletico Madrid another year when they can't sign a replacement for me, so I'll come in a year's time. I think he's a man of his word, and I think he's got morals, and I think that is the strongest reason he's coming. I think another reason is that we've left that number 7 shirt open, and nobody really talks about it other than us on the United stand, but that's massive. It doesn't get enough mention. For Manchester United to leave their most iconic shirt empty for a whole season, to me that was Griezmann's shirt last June. And if Griezmann wasn't coming, we would have moved on and got somebody else. So why has it been left free? I think it's a massive hint there. I think Mourinho gave a massive hint last week, saying we will be signing a massive player this summer. And I think Barcelona signing Coutinho for 142 million. I think that basically shuts the door on Griezmann to Barcelona. Not totally, I admit, but more or less does. So if he doesn't go to Barcelona, I can't see him going to PSG. I know Real Madrid were linked to him yesterday, but no way is he going to Real Madrid. So it's Manchester United for more, and it's based on evidence. It's based on, I'm not just plucking it out in the air. I've gone back through it there. That is why I think Griezmann's coming in the summer. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. He was linked to Real Madrid, but for a man who stayed at Atletico Madrid out of loyalty because they had a transfer ban, to go to Real Madrid the next summer would destroy any loyalty or reputation he wants to have. So why would he do that? I don't see it. I don't see it at all. We've had 730 likes on the video. Please do keep liking. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner with the hologram there. We're live every single night at 8 o'clock. We'll be live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. I've got Sophie on the show and Flex. Monday night at 8 o'clock is the Skype show where you can Skype in and have your say. Every day, Monday to Friday, we've got the Transfer Daily through the transfer window at 7 AM. So loads of content, loads of interaction, as you can see with the live community, the live chats. The United Stand community really is, for me, the biggest and the best Manchester United forum of fans out there. The education, the understanding, the passion. We don't always agree, but it's a really great community, a worldwide community as well, because that's what Manchester United support is. Whether you're in India, America, Mexico, Scotland, wherever, every voice matters, and that's what the United Stand's all about. So thanks everyone for watching tonight. Thanks everyone who's liked, and thanks everyone who has subscribed. And if you are new, you are very welcome, and I know everyone will make you feel welcome. Viking Red says, Mark, I will never ever think any Liverpool team is better than us. Oh, I really hope that nobody's took it that way. Liverpool are not better than Manchester United, Viking Red. What I meant is, and what I said is, Liverpool's front four is better than ours, and it's playing better than ours, and it's more exciting than ours. Their midfield is nowhere near as good as ours, because we've got Pogba in it. Their defence is nowhere near as good as ours, because we've got Chris Smalling, Valencia, and Luke Shaw in it. And their goalkeeper is nowhere near as ours, because we've got De Gea, and they've got a chocolate fire guard. So, no, their front four is better than ours. I'll admit that, but they're nowhere near anywhere else as good a team as us. New Conte comments, says Harris. I did touch on them right at the start of the video. Conte calling Mourinho a little man. So he's heightist now. He said he's got dementia the other day. All Mourinho's done is said he doesn't act like a clown on the touchline. He didn't mention Conte. He was actually talking about Conte and Klopp. And then he said about the ban for match fixing, which is factual. He did get a ban for match fixing. So, look, Mourinho is very clever in his comments. He obviously does wind up Conte, but Conte's remarks, I think the FA should get involved. I think, heightism, and heightism is not a small matter. And certainly not going on about someone's mental health, and dementia certainly isn't. Smalling is nothing to brag about, mate, says Lewis Armitage. Well, I personally think he is, Lewis. I think Manchester United without Smalling this season would be in a far worse position. I think he's been fantastic this year. And at times when Bay's been injured for a long time, Phil Jones has been injured. Yeah, it's great. Andrew Thompson says little man syndrome. Trump should be a coach in the future. Okay, chocolate fire guard. Give it a rest, Alan. I'm unhappy with the transfer business, says Rahul. It is only the 6th of January, Rahul. We've still got 25 days left. So let's hang in there. I've always said that January the 31st will be the day. But, Mark, I know Mahrez can show absolute beautiful tricks and skills shows, but sometimes he's lost in games, says Timmy H. And this is exactly what happens to Mkhitaryan, Rashford, Lukaku. I want to sign reliability. Look, I said the same about Ozil as I say about Mahrez. To be honest with you, they're not my first choice signings. I would want players far, far better. But in January, when you're desperate, and I think we are desperate for a winger, I'd rather have Mahrez over nobody, but there's a lot of players I'd rather have over Mahrez. And the thing about Mahrez is he is Premier League proven. So the concerns that you say about Mkhitaryan and that, we know that at least if you did sign Mahrez, he is a player that's used to the Premier League, and when he does turn up, he'll turn up well. I think Mkhitaryan can't even turn up in a game, so that's the problem. Shiva says Griezmann and someone like Sergio Roberto from Barcelona would be good because he can play midfielder or right back. Did you see? Yes. Conte also made comments about when he comes to Old Trafford, it's going to get sorted out. I can't wait for that. I think it's the end of February. Yeah, but can't wait for that. It's going to be fantastic. And Rodney, do you think Griezmann will go to Real Madrid? I think he could. Andrew K. I don't see how Griezmann can go to Real Madrid. Here's a man who stood by a club that he wanted to leave for Manchester United because they had a transfer ban, and then a year later he goes to Real Madrid. It doesn't make sense to be that loyal to a club and then totally crap on them a year later. Lots of people talking about Milinkovic Savic from Lazio. I would love to see him come to United. I mean, to be honest with you, that game against Chelsea, whenever it is going to be, and I went to it last year, not a lot of people know that, but whenever that is, I think the Old Trafford crowd are going to give Chelsea and Conte some real stick. And you know what? That'll be nice to hear, because how Chelsea treat Mourinho when he goes to Stamford Bridge is a disgrace, an absolute disgrace for their most successful manager of all time. But bring it on. Do I have a secret crush on Pulisic, says Pankaj. I do like Pulisic. I don't expect him to see him at Manchester United. I mean, wingers are a dying breed, Yiddish, but it's the ability to put the ball into the box is what Manchester United miss. Anyway, what a cracking show. How the hell have we got through over nearly 40 minutes? That has whizzed by. And I tell you why it's whizzed by. Because it's proper passion. You're interacting with me as ever. You're feeding me stuff. We're hitting off each other. We're going through lots of topics. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's something about the Saturday night show at 8 o'clock that... I don't want to diss the Thursday show or the Wednesday show, but the Saturday night show is pretty good. There's always a good buzz about it. We're back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Sophie and Flex will be on, and all you lot hopefully as well, interacting with us. And don't forget, if you want to call in and you want to be a star of the future on the United Stand, well, star of the future is not the right word, but if you want to be on the United Stand, we do have fan cams at every single Manchester United game now. You can get to Flex and have your point on there. But we've got the Skype shows Monday night at 8 o'clock, and we are going to feed another one in next week, probably. I would say Thursday night at 8 o'clock. So we've got 2 next week because we've got lots going on. Lots of spare capacity because there's no game in the midweek because we got knocked out of the League Cup by Bristol. So Skype next Monday and Thursday at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night we're live every night at 8 o'clock basically. Subscribe, get involved, drop a like. We didn't quite hit 1,000 likes, which would have been amazing on a live show to do it. But really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And this is the brilliance of this channel and these shows is, pre-records would not get it. So the interaction, all I can do is applaud you. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's whizzed by tonight, and it's down to you. Like I always say this, a like on the video is a like for yourself because it was really good. Although David De Gea's not happy. He says, boring show tonight, nothing new. Mark Hughes got sacked on the show, mate. That's pretty new. He wasn't sacked before. And there was a good, the news, maybe that's 2. I've actually bitten like a guppy fish on 2 rods tonight. I've had it. Although maybe he does it. Tony Kroos linked to us, says Jay White. No chance. Why would Tony Kroos leave the best midfield 3 in the world to come to Manchester United at the moment? I don't see it happening. Maybe in the summer, but not now. Thanks for watching. We've still got the show from this morning when I was talking about Mourinho's reaction to Conte. If you've not watched that, we've still got all the fan cams from last night. The Derby County fan one is ridiculously funny, saying that he only beat our reserves. But thanks everyone. Really enjoyed the show. I'll be back with you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I'll probably do a video in the day, probably be around midday as well. But thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. I'm laughing at your comments. I'm not reading any of them negative ones again. I've made that chance twice. But thanks everyone. Speak to you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm off to watch Classic Air Force One, Harrison Ford, Jaka Nakanori. And I'll speak to you later. Let's stay positive. We've had a good start to the year. And if we can make a couple of signings, I think we'd all be ecstatic. We need to, don't we? Speak to you soon. Thanks for watching. VK Dean. Kroos rates Fellaini. I loved it. Great show. Great show tonight. Thanks for watching.